Hey, everyone. Welcome to Busyness Live, February 2nd. And glad to have you here. We're going to talk about build your freelance career. Give me a little at the top of your window there. You see the little guy with his hand raised like this. If you would go ahead and give me a hand raise there. Dave, I see it there. Make sure that you can hear me okay. I want to check that first and walk you through MMCE. Thank you. Pollock, thank you. Everyone else, thank you. So awesome. Oh, I'm getting some people saying that you can't see me. That would be why, because I didn't start sharing my window yet. There we go. So you go ahead and you can go ahead and lower your hands now. You should be able to see me now. You should be able to hear me now. So welcome. And this is Busyness Live. It takes place every Wednesday night from 9:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you, all of you, for being here. And I want to walk you through the room just a little bit. If you haven't been here yet, you will basically see this type of format, this layout in the room for the rest of the evening. I'll be sharing some different content in the main window area. If there's something that you need, definitely use the little graphic at the very top, the one that you just played around with the hand raised, right? And you can do some different things up there, like agreeing with me, disagreeing with me, and that's fine. If you want to disagree with me, no problem. Speak louder, speak softer, speed up, slow down. You might use that one because I tend to talk fast, especially when I'm excited and pumped up, like I am tonight about this particular topic. So have some fun with this. There's some laughter up there if you think something's funny, or give me some applause if you like what's going on, so we can keep this interactive. So that's how you can work the room up there. In the lower right, you should see a chat window. So you can feel free. I'm going to leave that up for now, and as long as it doesn't get crazy down there, I'll leave it so that we can interact with one another. And if you have questions, simply go ahead and raise your hand, or type it. Just you can go ahead and just type it into chat. And the structure here, the format that we're going to use, I'm going to walk you through some things about building your freelance career. And we're going to talk about that for about 20 minutes tonight, and then open the floor for questions. So if there's any questions that you have for your business, whether it be marketing, uh, getting things done productivity wise, systems, uh, lead generation, traffic generation to your website, whatever it may be that has you stuck, that's what we're going to do the second half of this next hour, is to open the floor. So I'll be here for the full hour unless you guys don't have questions. If you don't, we may end early. So get your questions ready. So with that, let's get rolling here. I want to share, bear with me one second as I share another document with you. And I'm going to pull up an overview. Now, those of you who have been here before and have seen this, this is going to get a little old. And for that reason, I'll shorten these overviews. But for those of you who haven't been here, I want to make sure that you understand completely how to read a cache map as we get into this here. So here's the overview document that I'm going to go ahead and pull up right now. And I'm going to have to control the zooming here, so I know that's going to be difficult for you to see. Let me go ahead and zoom in just a little bit here. The thing I want to say is this is the free strategy cache map. We're going to be talking about that tonight, and you can go into your particular document. I don't have the link with me right here. I'm sorry. Or going into your cache map account, look for the member login link in the upper right hand corner. Click on that login. Click on when you get to your member dashboard, click on business, the business section, or personal and finance section, and you'll find a package there called Freelance. Go ahead and click on that. You'll be able to download your free strategy cache map that I'm going to show you in just a few minutes here. And just again, open honest up front here. Every cache map package consists of a strategy cache map and a set of action cache maps. So Remember, I'm going to talk you through this strategy cash map right here. Build your freelance career strategy cash map. But this package comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 action cash maps. You can see all these action cash maps here. What's the difference? A strategy cash map is a 30,000 foot high level overview of what you need to do. This particular topic is building your freelance career. If you want more nitty gritty, and you want somebody to hold you by the hand of exactly how to implement that, that's where our action cash maps come into play. So they're not in color, but here's all of our action cash maps for this particular package here. You can see there's 10 of them here. You can't quite see that there's 10, but I'm telling you, there is 10. You can see them on the overview sheet on your screen right here that there's 10. And they go like this. Learn about freelancing, identifying your field, create the portfolio, find clients, build a client list and client relationships, exceed client expectations, build a career out of it, understand the tax benefits, access those tax benefits, and diversify your career. So those are all the action cash maps, the nitty gritty details. Reading a cash map, we're going to look for this little green box here for getting started. And for ending a cash map, we're going to follow the flow lines from the start green, the green start node to the green end node by walking on this little line, the green flow arrow here. We're going to follow that through. This is the action step right here, the blue one. That's going to tell you exactly what you need to do. Off of those action steps, you'll see some annotations, like these ones at the bottom here, that will provide more information with that particular cash step. And then the other thing I want you to understand is that you're going to look for this little folder icon right here. You can see it here, and if you go to the top here, you can kind of see it up here. On the strategy cash maps, on the strategy cash map that I'm going to show you in just a minute here, you'll see this little folder icon right here. That little folder icon means that there's a lower level action cash map beneath that step. So let's dive right in. If you have any questions right there, cool, perfect, Dave. That's great. So the link that Dave just put up there, you can download the free strategy cash map right there directly through that link without even going to your to your cash map membership dashboard per se. So you're definitely going to want to do that. And as you participate in more of these business live events, whatever we're promoting that night, before you get on here, you can definitely go and go into your cash map account and download those. By the way, when you create your free cash map account, right, you get access to all approximately 60 of our strategy cash maps. So for those of you that have done that, you probably already have them on your hard drive if you've created a cash map account. So I'm going to pull up the Build Your Freelance Career strategy cash map. If you're with us last week, where we talked about small business startup, some definite overlaps here, but that's okay. It's excellent information that we're going to cover again. So I'm going to zoom in here for you a little bit. And as I was just mentioning here, we're going to start in this this left side here. Begin your freelance career, and then we're going to follow the flow arrows along. The first step is learn about freelancing, to educate yourself about that. And you take note of this folder icon here. That folder icon there again indicates that there's an action cache map that details everything that you need to know about learning about freelancing. And that's this particular action cache map right here. Right. So you don't have access to that. Those are paid. The action cache maps are for sale. So just being forthright here, the strategy cache maps are what you download for free and what we're going to talk about tonight. So with that, I'm going to get rolling. Go ahead and pop in any questions that you have into that box. I'm really going to cruise through this Build Your Freelance Career package tonight and get the floor open to answer your questions and really get some value there to give back to all of you, to allow you to interact with me. We do consulting with individual entrepreneurs through Fortune 500 companies. My time, like your time, and that's why I very much appreciate you being here tonight to take an hour out of your night. Very, very, very appreciative of that for you being here. Hope you're going to come back, week after week and join us. But the point is we charge 5 figures per month with many of our clients for this type of one-on-one consulting. and stuff. And so definitely take advantage here in about 10 to 15 minutes of this opportunity to ask me questions. So let's get rolling. With that said, learn about freelancing. So one of the things that is interesting about freelancing, I'll say use the word interesting, is that the definition is maybe misused, misunderstood, or just not understood. It's probably more so that's not understood than it's misunderstood. Um, you know, if you're an internet marketer and you want to call yourself a freelancer, absolutely, that's fine. In my definition, and I didn't even look this up, just in my personal definition, is that if you are out and create, you've built your own business and you're providing services of some type to a client base, you're a freelancer, and it's really as simple as that. Some people may say that freelance, only is for writers or for artists or some of that those sort of things. It's not necessarily an internet entrepreneur. You know, call it what you will. It's still here. We're all working to provide a valuable service or a product to a customer base, to a target niche that allows us to to provide value and address a pain point for that target market. So it's important here to really develop that skill set and understand the definitions. So let me give you a little bit more of a definition. I'm going to actually pull this from our action cache map that I showed you here, right? And I want to just shoot from the cuff and tell you what I think about freelance. Here's what we actually say in the action cache map. Sorry, excuse me. It says the word freelance originates from the medieval times in which it was used to describe a mercenary knight. Today, the word applies to any worker who works their craft independently, selling their services to a variety of clients. In today's economy, any person with skill and dedication can become a freelancer. So that's pretty much what I had said there. And other synonyms for freelance are being self-employed, independent contractor, sole proprietor, uh, you know, internet marketer, whatever whatever you want to call yourself. But it's important to understand that definition. And some of the things you need to think about here, right? Learning about freelancing are advantages, disadvantages, and I'm not going to get into all of them. But advantages, you've got freedom, right? You've got the ability to control your own schedule, and there's a lot of benefit from that, especially if you utilize it right and you manage your schedule right. Disadvantages, right, is that you don't have that paycheck coming in every week, every other week, biweekly, every month, whatever it is. That if you're working a full-time job, that you'd have a check coming in. You don't have benefits. You have to pay for your family benefits and that sort of thing. So lots of advantages, also a lot of disadvantages from some perspectives. But if you get out here and crank this business up, and you have solid revenue, and you're not worried about paying, you get to the point where you're not worried about paying the bills and that sort of thing, then a lot of those disadvantages go away. But to each their own. So there's other things we're going to talk about here too. That using freelancing as kind of a side benefit to supplement your income. But one of the big questions here is freelancing for you? In learning about freelancing, that's one of the big questions here. And do you have what it takes? It's more than just saying, yeah, I want to work from home. There is an internal intestinal fortitude, right? That's necessary. You must be resilient. You must be that bulldog of going after clients. You must be able to weather, times that are up and down, of which you may have a very good month or very good 6 months, and then all of a sudden, your client base starts to dwindle, and you've got to be able to, as I say, have that intestinal fortitude to weather the storm, so to speak, until that you're able to get that next client on there. So, and it's not only you. Something to think about is if you're married, if you have that significant other, if you have children, you're responsible for taking care of your entire family. So it's something that you really, really need to think about on whether freelancing is for you. The other thing to do, right, is to again supplement. So use freelancing. Maybe this is a good place to get started, to get rolling as you're still working, full time. So that's 1.1. Learn about freelancing. let's move over, and I'm going to pick up the pace now a little bit. I want to make sure I did that intro. But let's move over here to 1.2, identify your field. You know, this is something we talked about last week. Jim Collins, the book Good to Great. If you haven't read that, you definitely should. And I'm just trying to see if I have. I know I've got that book around here somewhere. Actually, you know what? I think I have it on. So I was going to show it to you. It's a red book, white lettering. I think I listened to that one on audio tape, and I don't have actually a hard copy of that. But he talks about. So I'm not staking any claim to this. Jim Collins brings it up and talks about. What are you interested in, right? What can you be? What can you be the best in the world at, and what can you monetize, right? So those are the three areas, and you bring those together, right? You bring those together into that center point there, where all three of those things intersect, right? Is where you want to focus your time, talents, and your treasure in building and leveraging your God-given talents to address that niche, right? And I covered last week, my particular niche as a um, folks now call me a busyness expert, a systems expert, but everything I do revolves around systems, right? Systematizing your business, systematizing your life. And, that story of how all those things came together, those pieces came together for me into that hedgehog concept, I covered last week on, the small business startup package. So you can visit busyness.com and dig through there and look for the category there for Busyness Live recordings, and you can watch that recording there. So then you can hear that story. But for you, right, your challenge is to identify your field of interest. So where is it that you want to play, right? Where is it that your skills fit? And don't just worry about what you could be the best in the world at as far as like a positive skill, like you're a great painter or a great cake maker, right? Also leverage it. Look for things, failures in your life, maybe addictions that you had, struggles that you had, failed relationships that you had, and maybe because of that, right, and you've came out of that, you're able to help other people in life that have those same types of challenges, right? So those are great ways to identify a field. All right, so let's move on here to 1.3, creating a portfolio. Creating the portfolio here, one of the things, right, is the question is, what is a portfolio, right? And from a freelance perspective, a portfolio is a collection of examples of your work, right? So for me, sorry, I spent last 2 days in Denver. In the high in Denver was -1 yesterday, and that was no wind chill. That was just the regular temperature. Wind chills were like -35 to 40 below zero. It was crazy. So that plus being on the plane, coming back with this cough. Um, but anyways, back to this. The portfolio. It's an example. It's a collection of examples of your work. So for me, right, with my cash map business, examples of my work include the cash maps that we're looking at right here, with the large corporate consulting and business process reengineering and that sort of thing. I have a whole portfolio of work that highlights the work we've done for small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and corporations, that are Fortune 500 companies. So depending on who I'm speaking with or pitching at that particular time, I'll bring out that portfolio to to share. And the one thing you got to make sure is you need to make sure that you get approval from a client, to share that work. So let's say you're a web designer and you design a website. You need to make sure that you ask your client if you can have the permission to share examples of that client's work with other potential new clients for you. Now, one of the things here, that you really want to think about in this portfolio is not just showing work, but gathering testimonials. And the gathering of testimonials is one thing that you just need to build into your process. So when you roll off of a project with a client, one of the standard questions that you should ask is, "Hey, would you be willing to say a few words on camera about the work that they've done for you, or with the impact of that my work has done, or that sort of thing, or how you feel about the work that I've provided." And I say on camera because if you can get testimonials on video, you can use those video testimonials. You can transcribe them, and then you have the audio testimonials. Uh, lots of different things you can do, and video is just so powerful nowadays. So that's one thing that you want to do is you want to get that portfolio built, and also as you gather all that information, right? You want to assess and make it presentable. So you may need to hook up with a designer to package some of your work nicely with a cover sheet or things like that. But really make that portfolio something that is aesthetically pleasing. It goes a long way. And you can either do that electronically if you're working out of your home and everything you do is digital, or you can build a hard copy portfolio, take it with you in a binder or in some type of neat presentational format so that you can lay it out in front of a prospective client. All right, so that's creating a portfolio. Once you've identified your field of interest and niche and created a portfolio, it's really one of the big challenges here, right? Is finding clients, and so lots of different things to think about here. I'm just going to cover and touch on a few of these. We get into all the details on the action cash map here. This is action cash map 1.4. Find clients. Also want to just remind you, see if you can see here. See right here where it says find clients. Sorry, right here. Find clients 1.4. Right. That's how you can always tell what map you're at, what level, or if you're at the strategy level, or if you drop down to one of the action cash maps. Keep in mind, all the action cash maps are, all the cash maps are full color printed, just like you're seeing on the screen here. I just quickly printed these here from home and printed them in black and white. So, but they're full color, and you can take them and print them anywhere. So finding clients here, lots of different ways. One of the things to do is look at your competition, right? To study your competition and figure out where they're getting their clients from, what they're doing on their website, how they're attacking that niche. But really, take a look at the competition, and then make sure, we talked about this last week, that you have a very clear definition of your target market and what is that avatar, right? So what is the picture, if you had to draw an avatar for your target, your perfect ideal client, what does he or she look like? What does that avatar look like? Male or female or both? What age? What do they do? What magazines do they read? What websites do they go to? So forth. And to do that, that will allow you to really get in the heads of those people and figure out where you can go to get them. So I'm going to stop for just a minute, Kevin. Sorry about your difficulty there with the audio. All right, good. So I'll let Dave work with you on that. I'm going to assume that everyone else is hearing me okay. So remember, if you're not, definitely if there's more issues than just Kevin, absolutely use the little raise your hand thing, and let me know. So all right, so finding clients, one of those, there's kind of two schools of thought here, and they both need to be implemented, right? One is offline and one is online. So just make sure you keep that in mind as well. You need to have a presence online for sure, but unfortunately, in many of the individual entrepreneurs that that we work with, they feel that it's like climbing the mountain and seeing a peak that turns out to be a false peak, where they say, oh, if I just get my website up, I'll be all set. I'll be able to gather clients here. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Getting that website up is like the first step. And there's so much work beyond that is totally doable, but it just takes work, right? I mean, it absolutely does. And that's getting people to that website and then converting them, selling them on your ability to solve their problem. The other thing is, offline, to make sure that you're focusing offline. Once you understand where your customer avatar, then you'll know where to go find them. And, maybe through workshops, and maybe at certain events that you attend. It may be mail drops to, certain areas where you're doing postcard mailing and such. So, lots of different things to think about there, with finding finding clients, lots of different advertising stuff, but I can't go into all of that. You can ask if you have some questions on this. You can ask after here. But just keep in mind, if you log in, if you haven't already, you create your free CashMap account at cashmap.com, and you log in and hit your dashboard. There's like 60 CashMap packages there. Lots of stuff about um, generating traffic to your website, about advertising, using pay-per-click methodologies, using social media, lots of different things to think about and to grab and get some assistance there in implementing some strategic areas to advertise and get stuff there. So yeah, Dave, thanks for putting that down there. Yep, we have a WordPress cache map there. So I talked about getting your website up. There's one. There's actually two versions of that. There's a WordPress, and then I think there's a WordPress.com cache map package, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Anyways, let's move on here. So building a client list and client relationships. This is, as it says here, the little annotation says, one of the easiest and most effective ways to build your freelance business is by building personal relationships with your clients. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. And also finding those initial seed clients, right, can often come through leveraging your personal relationships. So going out to people that and you don't want to exhaust them. You don't want to tap them, every time that you get low on projects and stuff like that. You really get under the skin of your friends and family and annoy them. But especially starting out, once you get your business framed and your portfolio created, absolutely go to your personal network and look for folks. Explain to them what you're trying to do. Offer them an incentive, a percentage of any business that comes in from their referrals. So that that's something to think about as far as getting the business started. But then after you're rolling, right, and you take on clients, you absolutely must handle them with I'll say kid gloves. That's not necessarily accurate, but you must develop a relationship with them and try to deepen that relationship as much as possible. Because I just speak for myself. Um, much of my business comes through word of mouth referral and or repeat business. So clients that have worked with me, I have some clients where I've done 6 to 8 projects with one client. Each project is 5 figures, um, in total dollar amount. And let's say those 6 or 8 projects stretch over, a year and a half. So that's over 18 months. Let's say you've got 6 projects and they're each worth, let's just say $10,000. Well, that's $60,000 of business of a repeat customer coming back and coming back, coming back. If you find a solid client that is building a website, you're building websites for whatever your rates are and such, you can plan on that repeat business, and it's much easier to get repeat business than it is going out and selling a new customer or client who doesn't know you, right? So part of that, moving on here, is 1.5. Part of that, developing that relationship is making sure that you exceed client expectations. And that's just absolutely critical because, for you to return to basically, give a solid proposal, right? To conduct yourself in a professional and ethical way, to provide superior results on time, to meet your word, to support what you said you would do, and to communicate with those clients in a very effective way. So, or in a very effective manner, so that if you drop the ball on anything, or there's things take longer than what you originally expected, that you're in full communication with them to minimize any repercussions or damage of that. By exceeding those client expectations like that, you will get word of mouth referrals and you will get repeat business. That's what you want. So you absolutely must keep that in mind, as you're working on your freelance projects. Now, 1.7 here, moving on, build your career. This is an interesting piece here, right? Because what it's basically saying is, are you going to take this from just a little thing to the big thing? How much time are you going to focus on it? Is it just a little side revenue for you, or is this your main source of revenue for you and your family? And that's one of the questions that you need to ask yourself, because as you uh, let's just face it, as you get good, right? As you develop a reputation and you're always exceeding your client expectations, and word of mouth referrals come, and repeat business come, what it does is it gives you, right, the opportunity to raise your rates, because now your demand, right, or the demand for your services goes up. And at that point, you can charge more. I mean, it's very, very simple, the supply and demand equation here. But so things like raising your rates, collecting letters of reference, from prestigious clients, really focusing and honing in on your client list. And the annotation there, we say thinning your client list, and that means that out of the gate, you're probably going to take on any client that you can get your hands on, and maybe it's a $500 project, but certain down the road, you may not want to work with that client because he or she's a total pain in the butt, and they're only paying you $500. And you're going to go out, and now that you have demonstrated work in your portfolio, right? You've got all these testimonials, you've got portfolios. Now you go to other customers and clients, and they bring you on, and now it's not $500, but now you charge $5,000. And so pretty quickly you can figure out that, hey, that client that you're charging $5,000 to really doesn't give you all the hassle. They're in sync with what you're trying to do, and you work well together, and so you thin out your client base, and you drop those 500. Don't literally drop them. Finish out the project, and you just don't go forward with them. Or you go to those customers once that current project's done. You say, okay, here's my new rate structure. Boom, it's $5,000. And sometimes some of those clients will be willing to pay. You'll be surprised. Will be willing to pay you for that. So you got to talk about that. That's or think about building your career. Now, 1.8 and 1.9 here are getting into tax things, and I'm going to go ahead and move this thing up here. You can see 1.8, understanding tax benefits. Right, freelancing is, and again, remember, sole proprietorship, whatever you want to call it, an entrepreneur. There are very, very, very distinct advantages. Remember, we talked about advantages and disadvantages, and there's so many. I just threw a couple out there to start the conversation earlier. But one of the advantages of going this route is, the tax side of things, that you are able to deduct a lot. I mean, everything that you do that touches your business, you're able to deduct, as a business expense. Now, that everything, right? I say, you got to understand, you need to follow the IRS, the tax laws and such. So go get yourself an accountant, or work with your accountant at the end of the year to figure out. Actually, not at the end of the year. When you get going here, go check in with an accountant so you can understand what you can write off and what documentation you need to make sure that you're documenting it right, so that at the end of the year you have everything that you need and you're 100% legal. That you've deducted only the things that you can deduct. But I can tell you that it's very, very it's a distinct advantage for working for yourself, and that helps to offset the things like having to pay your own insurance and those sort of things. 1.9, access tax benefits here. This is a couple. This is just really a word about different accounting methods and stuff. Whether it's cash accrual is the most popular. But that you just want to make sure that you understand the types of things that you need to do to really realize those tax benefits. If you're paying somebody as a subcontractor, I think it's more than like $600 a month. Again, check with your accountant, but you have to get 1099s from them, right? So that you can write off those expenses, as part of your team. Again, making sure that you have the right documentation, and really starting that process to make sure that you're leveraging the opportunities that the IRS allows you to leverage. So that's really 1.8, 1.9, understanding what the tax benefits are and how you do that. That's what we dive into on the action cash maps. Following the green fluoro here, we move down into this 1.10. freelance, full time. So, individuals who follow, our cash map package here, and build your freelance career, you'll find yourself eventually. Now, everyone's different, every situation is different. There's no promises here. This is not something that if you're looking at this saying, hey, I need to come up with $10,000 before February 28th because I need to pay the mortgage on March 1st. No, 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 no. I'm not advocating. There's nothing that we do here or that I would ever advocate as a get rich quick. This is a legitimate business that we're talking about here. This takes time. This takes effort. This takes learning, and it's one of those things that um, it can be very, very lucrative for you. But I also want to be realistic. So if you're wondering, hey, where I'm going to pay the bills, get a job. You absolutely must get a job and do this on the side. Okay. But if you want to make this a full-time thing, then now this is where we start really diversifying, right, your career, and looking for ways to develop those few really boutique, high-paying clients and customers, and to develop skills in marketing strategies, sales funnels, that sort of thing, where you can identify those higher-paying clients. You can get them into your funnel, and you can convert them, at as a higher rate, as possible. And that's really that's one of the things there that if you're going to do this full time, you need to, just think of this as a full time business, as opposed to just something that's like, hey, I'm going to build a few websites on the side for a little bit of cash. So that's it, folks. That takes us through steps 1.1 of here, all the way from beginning your freelance career to your freelance career created, steps 1.1 through 1.11. Keeping in mind, you want to point something out. This is always a question. There is no action cash map for step 1.10. There is no action cash map that's associated with a diamond, and so you will not see one of the little folder icons on that diamond like you see here. Again, this is every one of these folders here is where there's an action cash map. Okay, and if you're interested, and I'll just say, hey, listen, we're not making the same offers every single night that we're on here. Some nights, we're just going to be structuring things differently depending on how things are going on. Tonight's offer, right, for you to pick up these action cash maps at the reduced price. Normal price is $197. They're on our site right now for tonight for $77 for the action cash map. But what I want to offer to you tonight is if you buy these action cash maps for our freelance, build your freelance career package at $77, I'm going to give you two additional packages of your choice out of our full arsenal of cash map packages, the 60 that we have. So what do you need to do that? All you need to do is go ahead and you can log into your cash map account and go to your dashboard, look for personal and finance, a filter, click that. You'll find the freelance package there, click that. There'll be a little green button that will say unlock your orange button. That'll say unlock your action cash maps. Click that, unlock those, go through the checkout process. When you get back from that, all you need to do is send an email to sales@cashmap.com or support@cashmap.com, or visit cashmap.com/support, create a support ticket, and just say, any of those methods are fine. I'm making this real easy for you guys. Just say, hey, I was on the Business Live webinar with Brad, tonight or Wednesday, and I picked up the Build Your Freelance Career Action Cash Maps, and here's the two. I would like to take advantage of Brad's offer. Here's the two packages I like, this one and this one. You don't have to say it in all those words. We know what you need, but I'm offering you 3 packages tonight for $77. Absolutely awesome offer. That's it. And with build your freelance career, and I'm going to move off of there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and open up the Q&A poll or Q&A pod here. You should see this coming up here, and I'm going to go ahead and delete some of these, or take a look at what some of these questions are coming in. There's some just kind of conversations here, but go ahead and if you have any questions, we've got about 19 minutes left. I'd be more than willing. I mean, that's what the second half of the webinar is for, is to talk, to help you in your business. So if you want to talk through some things, and you're willing to, ask questions, whatever it may be, anything about your business, traffic generation, website building, branding, uh, resources, what resources I have. I'll open up my Rolodex, try to give you everything I can, from my brain. So go ahead and you can ask any questions inside of that window there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up our main background here, and I'll get that Q&A window back up. Sorry if I dropped it from you there. Should be able to see it again now. So two ways you can ask a question here, folks. One is type it into this Q&A window that's here. The other is to type it into chat. So either way, we can absolutely do that. So I'm just going to remind you, and you know what, if there's no questions, that's fine. We don't necessarily uh, have to dive into it. I'll just talk a little bit more. If you, I want to remind you that we have a full entrepreneur cash map package that we offer, right? That consists of 13 full cash map packages, right? And that's sold for as high as, I think, $1,997. It's on our site right now for $497, and that's what we're, in this series right now, that's what we're walking through. So I'm going to go ahead and actually pull that up here so that you can see where we're at and what we're talking about and what we're going to talk about next week. You can see here that we talked about in the previous week's productivity cash maps, solidifying your finances with our financial survival. We're now up here and defining your hedgehog concept with your small business startup and build your freelance career. Next week, we're moving on here. We're going to talk about financing. We're going to move on here and talk about business plan writing. And then the following week after that, we're going to talk about voice of the customer cash map, some strategies about figuring out your the voice of the customer cash map. And then the third week from now, we'll be talking about conquering your competition, for really honing in your competition. So this whole package here, just by the way, this is kind of what we're doing on the weekly series right now for Busyness Live. And this whole package right now on our site sells for $497. I just want to remind you that you can get this. You could receive this whole package for free by submitting a question for our Busyness TV, a weekly show at business.com. If you submit a question that I answer on air, you'll receive the entire Entrepreneur Cash Map package for free for submitting that question and for me using your question on air. So just go to busyness.com and look for the Ask Dr. Brad icon in the right-hand side. I'm just going to go ahead and type that in here. And it's going to be for Ask Dr. Brad link in sidebar. Okay, so that's how you can win the Entrepreneur Strategy Cash Map for free. So Gary, all right, suggestions or resources for determining how much to charge. Yeah. Hey Gary, if I can ask, do you have a niche defined at this point? I'm just curious to know what your area of expertise, and that's okay if you don't, if you're if you're just kind of diving into this, figuring out. But one of the big things is understanding what your competition is doing, right? That's one of the big ways. So there's lots of variables here. So let me walk you through a few things here. Okay, so mobile advertising. All right. Yeah, looking at what the competition is doing is one of the big things. Now, okay, no info in that market. Yeah, depending on what whether it's a product or service, just in general, looking at the competition is definitely the first thing. Now, the second thing is if there's absolutely no information in the market. So, you've came up with a product or service that is, absolutely new, totally revolutionary. Nobody's doing anything like it. You obviously can't do that. So there's a couple of things to think about there. One is if you have a list, right? If you have a list, and even if you don't, you can do this too, and that is to really get some peer or focus groups going, right? So mobile advertising, I don't know, maybe go to the Warrior Forum, go to uh, LinkedIn, find some groups of people that in that mobile space, and pull them together, make an offer to them, to give them free access to your service or your product for a specified time. Make a nice compelling offer that says, hey, I'd like to provide this value to you in my service as a trial. I want you to be part of this exclusive group, an advisory. It's not an advisory board, but it's kind of just a peer group, let's call it. And work with them. Let them trial your software, your service, your product for a short period of time. You probably got to let them do that for a longer period of time, but then ask them, right? Either ask them, get on the phone with them, get in a webinar with them, or set up a questionnaire or an assessment. So after they are using your product or service for a month, you send them this questionnaire to let them, and you just flat out ask them, hey, what would the service be worth to you on a monthly basis or a one-time charge, or that sort of thing. So that's peer groups are an awesome way to do that, or surveying your list if you have a list that's in that area. And then thirdly, right, the other thing is testing. So, one of the things that people overlook often is testing. And to test, you have to have the website up. You have to have enough volume, traffic coming through there to really draw some statistical conclusions on what price points are are selling the best, right? And what that does for retention and stuff. But look, using things like Google Analytics, a nice free tool to do either split testing or multivariate testing. If you have a product, you're going to want to test that at, whatever. You might test it at 27 bucks a month, 40 if it's a monthly type service, 27, 47, 77, 127, 157, 177, 197. I mean, you kind of test one at a time if you're doing split testing type things. But again, if you can do multivariate at one time, you can get some more variables in there, test more price points in that. But literally, you can charge one customer who comes through your funnel 27 bucks, and the next person that comes through your funnel 197 bucks. You absolutely, and you'll quickly figure out if you have the traffic to the site, which one's the winner, which one gets the highest revenue per visit is what you're looking at there. But if you don't have the traffic, established traffic, or can't get established traffic, then look at the peer-to-peer route for sure. That's that's a really, really, really good way, to do that. So, all right, let me pull up this. Let me try to pull up this Q&A again here. See if any are questions over there. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions over there. Yeah, hey Gary, thank you for your your question there. And Gary, for taking action there. I'd like to unlock this. I'd like to unlock this entrepreneur strategy cash, or the full package of our Build Your Freelance Career package for you tonight. So thank you for being an action taker and asking that. So go ahead and email your CashMap username, or just your last name or something. Go ahead and email that to sales team at sales@cashmap.com, and we'll get that. We'll get this unlocked for you in your account. So thanks again for that. What other questions, folks? Anything else? Got about 9 minutes here yet, and I definitely am willing to to answer. So feel free to take advantage of this. Tonight's a little bit slower, so I think all the cold weather and the snow that's invaded the country has gotten folks frozen here a little bit. But all right, here's a question that came in. All right, so Facebook or Google Ads, does one cater better to certain businesses than another? Well, That's a really, really, really good question. So the question again is Facebook or Google Ads, does one cater better to certain businesses? I would say there's a lot of folks that probably have varying opinions on this. But here's the thing that I'd say, and if anyone else has some input, feel free to type it in the chat there. But they're both contextual advertising, look, keyword based. Um, Facebook allows you to do a little bit more with individual um, demographics, right? And so you can hone in on the demographics of individuals, a little bit more and stuff. But you can really, really, really get to the same type of thing in both with both Facebook advertising and Google um, AdWords. They both have cool things. Facebook can give you, like I said, a little bit more fine-grained demographics type focus. And so I guess the one thing I would say then is because Facebook is built on individuals, if your target market is individuals as opposed to a a business, right? Then Facebook may have an advantage there because you can hone in specifically on, let's say, people of a certain age group in a certain location that have certain interests and likes and that sort of thing. You can get right to that individual. But just in general, for setting up contextual ads or ads based on keyword based advertising, you can do the same on both. But I think that's really the big distinction that comes to mind is individuals, but Facebook may have an advantage there. But there's lots of other variables, depending on what your niche is, what keywords you're going after, that sort of thing. So they should both be explored. But a word of caution there too, right? Advertising there, unless you have funds sitting around. If you're getting started here in your freelance career, you're going to want to make sure that you that you're building a revenue stream first before you start going out and spending money, because especially if you don't know what you're doing, it can get expensive. To can definitely get expensive on the advertising side there. So you want to make sure that you are watching yourself and putting maximum daily limits for spends and that sort of thing in there. So great question. Thank you for that. What else? Any other questions that we have here? Remember, next week we're going to be back with the small business business plan writing. I'm sorry, the business plan writing cash map. That's going to be in our Busyness live event next Wednesday. Again, every Wednesday, 9:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I wanted to remind you. Here's a breaking news announcement that only folks here are going to get right now. Is that the Effortless Productivity Show is on busyness.com every Thursday, releases every Thursday. We got a new show coming out tomorrow. That's now going to be called just Busyness TV. So there's a new thing there. So if you go to busyness.com, look for our Business TV show every Thursday, and I would love your feedback. Remember, you can ask a question to me of me there by looking for the Ask Dr. Brad icon. Feel free to comment on anything in the show. I'd love to interact with you there and get a dialogue going. So that would be outstanding if you would do that and provide some feedback on those shows. And then to coincide with Business TV are these Business live events. So all right, folks. Well, it looks like the questions are few and far between tonight. That's absolutely fine. I wanted to just remind you of my appreciation for you coming out and spending an hour of your precious time with me and with my team. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Hopefully this information was valuable. Anything that you can do to that you'd like to see done separately. Feedback that you have, absolutely, you can just send it to. For right now, I'll tell you where to send it. If you have any feedback, send it to you can send it to me personally, Brad Semp at busyness.com. Just go ahead and send me feedback on things you'd like to see different for the Business live event. Any feedback you have for my Business TV episodes, at busyness.com. Anything like that. Oops, let me type this into the same thing here. Sorry. It's actually, there you go. So let's go ahead and end this thing tonight. So thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. I'll hang out for just a few minutes before I shut everything down. But thank you very much. And I hope to see you back here at Busyness Live next Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you then. Take care. Bye-bye.